we are live on YouTube. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Come on, Miss Ada, this isn't a church social now.
I need to get you one of those. No, I know.
I had one that went up. Already called the meeting to order. I'm going to ask that Alderman Craig Bullock will lead us in the prayer and the pledge. Attention.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for today. Thank you for the privilege to be here, to live in this great city, to represent the citizens. God, I pray that as we discuss and make decisions tonight, that we will do so in the best interest of everyone, and everything we do and say will glorify you. Forgive us when we fail you, and just keep us safe as we're here and as we depart and head on. It's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, go ahead and do what you gotta do. Hurry up before Stacy gets back in here. Oh, too late. All right, all the aldermen are here, including Alderman Stringer and Alderman Lott, as they discuss things at the thermostat.
He knows to leave my thermostat alone.
I don't discuss. We got Attorney Rocky Eaton and Clerk Melissa Martin here. So anyway, is there a motion that we would adopt the agenda? Oh, with the addition of one water leak, 607 South George, 708, plus a late penalty of $14.94.
114.
114.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? All righty, is there a motion that we accept the consent agendas, which is basically some public hearings, regular meetings, another public hearing on items number 1 and number 2. Number 2 is the proofs of publications. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All righty, Dr. Malden?
Yeah, I'm here.
I think I need to get a seat that'll be up so I can see people. Hey, you wanted to ask about fluoride.
Yeah.
I think we're still in the same boat. I had talked with Matt about that earlier.
We can't get.
Still no real idea, isn't it?
Can't get that.
They're not telling you a time to make you feel better or anything about
They're not, they said they can't get their hands on it.
Well, I have some information for you.
it? Go ahead.
Okay, so, I had contacted the Mississippi Dental Association because of course they keep up with all the fluoridation that's going on all around the state via the state health department. And I have lists of available people who have fluoride. So I'm just gonna pass these around. I brought 7 copies. Sorry, guys, there's not that many. The other thing I wanted to let you be aware of, yeah, that's fine. I made 7, so y'all just pass it around.
Thank you.
So on that are the list of the company's contact information, et cetera. And of course, I did not take time myself to call, but if you need me to, I can call and try to get, whatever it is, as far as like it costs this much for so much of it. If you want me to do that for you, I'd be glad to try to help. That's not something I know about, but I'd be glad to try to help you. So, but here's contact folks.
We didn't know anything about it either until we couldn't get it. It was just kind of on autopilot.
Exactly. And one of these guys is down in Theodore, Alabama, so that's not too far to drive. So, I've got access to trucks and stuff like that. So we can definitely.
Okay, and I'll make sure that they have that over there too. Obviously, I think another problem was we had an issue with I guess, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a threat, but the idea was that it was almost quadruple in price. It used to be a little expensive, didn't it?
It used to be pretty cheap, but with everything going up.
I know you guys have talked to, because I know we had the conversation last time, that we're, obviously the city of Petal, I'm not sounding like a broken record, but a lot of folks haven't heard this, is obviously we're on City of Petal water. I think we even have a few people on East of Butchie, like 4 people or something like that. Sunrise and Barrontown, and I don't think any of them have it. I know you probably had at some point had conversations with them. I think Barrontown's probably the largest in the city that's not City of Petal, and then Sunrise has a little thing. Any feedback from them about not, or getting into it? I mean, they didn't even do it when it was inexpensive, so.
When I had
I'd imagine.
requested, as I told you last time I was here, when I requested a hearing or to talk or whatever, I was told that no one was interested in listening to me. So
See
at that
there.
point, that's kind of
We
hard to.
good.
See there, we let you.
I know, look what you do for me. You know, it's kind of hard to break through the door into a party, and so I just
No, I
wasn't as
understand.
bold as that.
Yeah.
But I live in the city of Petal, and I
Absolutely.
feel like this is my home.
Are you on Barrontown City Water or City?
Oh, I'm on City of Petal Water.
Okay, good.
I pay my bills all the
I
time.
guess I'm on both. The office is one and the other is the other, so.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely
We'll
City of
appreciate
Petal.
your concern, we really
Yeah.
do.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Like I
Thank you.
said,
I did want to let you know about one other thing that's coming up too. There are some pilot programs around the state where it's not the granulated form, but it's actually a tablet that's added. And it's kind of a new system that's being tried in some of the fluoridated systems. And I understand it's easier, more cost efficient and all the rest of that. Have no idea, because a pilot to me doesn't mean it's out there for us to use or to access yet. But I will be glad to let you know if I find out more about that and if
Kinda like
those
And-
get
flooring tablet.
approved and.
And I know, and I will go ahead and say, just so everybody knows what we get to deal with sometimes, other than stray dogs and sewer and all that kind of stuff. Just the mentioning of fluoride on YouTube, we will all get emails from the other side of the issue. But,
Both sides.
so I got quite a few, and it is what it is. But hey, man, that's what our
So the
job is.
tablet would be kind of like chlorine tablet that they do in the pool.
That's
kind
my vision of it, but I have not seen that.
Yes,
Again,
ma'am.
I just want to let you know that the NDA, and I tried to get some information of that for you, but it wasn't forthcoming in
Okay.
time for
If
this
it's
meeting.
easy and cheap, we can.
Yeah, we can definitely
There you
look at
go. But, and I'm not, you know,
Appreciate
that's
that.
why I wanted to let you know, there's another
Absolutely.
system being tried.
And you are welcome anytime here.
Thank you very
Anytime
much.
as well, too. Anytime you want to come in.
Absolutely.
Even when we're not meeting collectively. But anyway, we do appreciate the work that you do.
I
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr. Martin.
you.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you, man.
Still gonna take, hey, Dr. Martin, I'm still gonna come take you to give
Anybody
you a
else
dance
wanna
lesson.
speak?
I'm sorry,
I
what?
didn't
I'll
get
let you give you some dance
the
lessons.
list up there.
Please do.
Uh-huh.
Listen, I do
I
teach
like
you.
it up there.
Come on up here.
You do.
Hey, it's laying up there, I like it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Miss Ada.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on, what's Dave, what's going on?
Who is this?
Carterville Road, like, right there in front of the
Is
church.
this Lenny?
Graveyard,
What's your name? What's your
Lenny
name?
guy,
Lenny got, yeah, okay.
Lenny got GUI?
GUI, yes, sir.
Hey, Lenny, where are we talking about?
Carterville Road in front of the cemetery, across from Carterville
Cemetery
Baptist.
and church.
Sir? Yes,
Cemetery and church.
yes, sir. Okay. I'm a bike rider, I ride every day. I ride with several people. A couple of them has had the same issue as me.
What kind of bike you got?
I have an 800 Kawasaki and a 1500. The roadway through there is really rough on cars and bikes. I've been through 3 cars in a year and a half because of that road. I just changed the seal on front of my bike because of that road. I ride this road 4, 5, 6 times a day.
You live down Carterville, Lenny?
No, sir, I have a family and friend that live out on Old River Route.
Okay.
Craig, are you familiar with that stretch of road?
We've talked about having that.
And on
There's
down the
actually
road from
there's
there,
actually a
past the
sinking
dollar
area.
store.
That has actually got a little more concern that I've got from it. You know, that little area we've talked about that with where we got a little, some settling going on.
Well, actually, there's not no asphalt in the road, what I'm getting to, because I come around the curve coming back into Petal
Yeah.
2 nights ago, and before you get to the little church at the dollar store right there,
Mhm.
in that curve, there's a pothole, and it's rough in that curve, period. It's been patched several times, but that'll wreck you. Because
We
if
don't
you
want
come
that.
in that curve and you rolling into the curve and you hit that pothole, your tire's already leaning. So it jerks,
Mhm.
and I like to have spilt my bike there the other night. That road really needs to be,
We've got our Durapatcher as well. But Matt's making a note of it, so he should be able to address that with the
Yes.
pothole. I say Durapatcher, it's basically our pothole.
yes, sir.
So we should be able to smooth some stuff out down there.
And I have a friend, you know, he wrecked his bike there. It's been a couple weeks ago, I guess. I don't know if y'all was called or not, but he had a wreck right there in that pothole, the bad pothole right there in between the church and the cemetery.
The problem on that street has always been the striations and the traffic.
Yes, sir. That's a heavy travel road.
It
Yes,
it just,
it
at that point that you're talking about, the road caps.
does.
And you'll notice that the cracks are going this
Yes,
way,
sir.
because the road is pulling away from it.
That's right.
Matt and I talked about that, and we've addressed it multiple times. We keep patching it.
I don't
It's not
think the patch
feasible
is
to
good.
patch right now to pave 3-4 miles
Yes,
outside the city, but it's on our list of things to do. I've definitely talked to our folks about it.
Yes, sir. Now you got the gravel trucks running back out, the gravel pit opened up, that ain't hit the.
And the log trucks that go
And then
around.
if you want that tear out one
Patching,
too.
patching just don't take that heavy travel road.
And when
I've
they
been
don't
riding
travel
there
that road,
every day for 3 years, I mean,
when they don't travel that road, they travel Smith Road.
yes,
Or Cedar.
yes.
So.
It depends on if I'm coming out of Petal or coming off a car, and I usually come around through Cedar or hit Carter.
But now Cedar's getting torn up because the people bypass.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Anytime.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? All right. All righty, proclamations and resolutions. Number 3, is there a motion, request to adopt a proclamation declaring April 17th through the 21st as a week of the child? This was a request from at the XL by 5.
Motion.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Number 4, request to adopt proclamation in honor of the Cosmopolitan Club of Petals for their 90th
Motion.
anniversary. Now
Second.
that's pretty strong.
Yeah, 90 years.
90 years. Yeah, I told the story the other day.
They don't look 90 years old. when
I
you see 'em.
Sir, we're on. I remember when people, yeah, there you go. You can pay that back to Jody. When Central was gravel. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? So anyway.
40 years older than the city.
All right, got a motion, got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, no bids, quotes, let's go to general business. Number 5, request to approve the docket of claims for the month of March 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 6, request to accept plans and specifications for infield turf at Robert E. Russell Sports Complex and authorize advertisement for bids. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second for discussion?
Second for discussion.
Okay.
I know we talked fairly extensively about this the last few weeks, some of us, and I really feel like, because what this is doing is talking about doing turfing 2 of the 4 fields, which is definitely a step in a direction. I think in overall positive. I would really love to see what we can do to just modify this to get the numbers on doing all 4.
If we get all 4 from a timeline standpoint, we basically scrap this tonight. You put it out to bid sometime in early June. We have a guesstimate of what we think the cost is gonna be just for the 2 fields. There is some mobilization savings, but overall, it's not gonna be, because I've actually, obviously, we've all had people talk to us from the outside, and I think the idea that we're gonna get this 25% discount just because they're getting 2 more fields, that's not the opinion of the engineers. They think it'll sometime, it'll be in the neighborhood, they think it'll cost us around $550. And that's obviously, it could be more
for
for 2, so if you double it and knock 10 off, you're still gonna be north of 900, probably closer to $1 million when it's all said and done. I mean, we'll do it any which way. the
I
board
think
wants
after I
to
got
do it.
looking at too,
I just think that
if we're gonna do it, I'd rather just go in, let's do it.
if we have
Get a
plans
price.
in the next couple of years to go back and do the other 2 as well, even if we have to figure out creative ways to access this money, we know we have the revenue coming in from the 3% that can pay that, however, fairly quickly. I just think from the voices that I've heard from the folks that utilize the fields, it would
Oh, I know
They
they
would
have.
really almost,
No, I'm-
they would be thankful for two, but it would create massive headaches.
Fighting over the good field.
Yeah.
Pascagoula did one field.
Yeah.
And allowed them to be the championship field, so it gave them something better. So I mean, I've told them, honestly, I told them 2 is better than 0. It gives us some asset allocation, which is my whole pitch, probably going turf. If that's the direction we're gonna go, why 2 fields? I'll just tell you, that's what we've got the money for right now. Hey, I wish we had it for all 4, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Or I guess we wouldn't, we'd be saying, do you do it at all or not? Obviously, with the rain we're getting during the last, 4 or 5 years, and I think turf's the way to go from an asset allocation standpoint. For instance, when it rains, if it rains on a Thursday or Friday, Saturdays,
It's washed out.
if it rains on a Thursday a couple weeks ago, just for tryouts, y'all had to jump through hoops to get it somewhat ready.
That's right.
Literally, if the rain stops on a turf field, you're playing in the next hour.
Yeah.
So that's, I obviously would recommend let's go in that direction. Now, where we go from there, I don't think if we're just getting a number, we're really not gaining anything because we kind of know the number. We're talking about $1 million for 4 of them.
So I don't know a lot about baseball. I know it's low the bat. But I've had a lot of people contact me about this and encourage me to not only go along with turf, but 4.
Yeah.
And I don't normally get contacted about this kind of thing. It's usually
They had a
related.
change.org thing going on. I don't know what the
Okay, well,
tally was, so yeah.
yeah,
Well, the fields
my
don't
phone
drain
was
good,
going
so
for
you can
good.
file it, you can still file.
Green, yeah.
There is
drainage involved,
Still
yes.
playing. He could do it.
And, well, I told them we're already fixing the drainage for the soccer field.
Yeah.
No,
Get
they
on
want,
in
they
there.
want the turf. And so I would just say, kind of as representative of the people, I am leaning that way myself.
Yeah.
Just because, so many people contacted me about that, asking me how I feel about it. And the honest answer is I don't feel about it. And so I'm trying to be a good representative of the people.
He's sometimes like, yeah, whatever.
But I just think,
Get it.
I just think that, I know we've talked before, and the more I get thinking about it, I just feel like if we're gonna do it, let's just bite the bullet and do it, let's get it done.
If you do all 4 of them, you're going to the bank.
Well, but the thing is, you're right, you're probably right, but the thing is, we got the revenue coming in to pay it.
Saying, well, do we want to get a loan? That's a whole different conversation.
What about the conversation,
We go, oh, by the way, just the math is, we've got around $2.2 million. We got 1.2 that we set aside last year. We've got another $1 million that we're gonna set aside to basically borrow the money from ourselves. That's gonna be, if you add in splash pads, soccer fields, the entrance to the ballparks, and 2 fields, you're running around 2.1-ish. That's not even counting the, engineering fees, so.
That's
You know, there's
10%,
gonna be
that's
several
10%, probably.
hundred.
That's probably 10%, isn't it? 30?
Yeah,
No
so
wonder Carl never liked that.
$400,000 to $600,000 more when it's all said and done.
so if we're planning on doing 4 or 2 and then the other 2,
And that recommendation has been made to me, by the way.
how long
Go to
would
the
that
bank,
be?
do all 4 of them.
What's that time period if we did 2 and then the other 2?
We really don't
But the
know.
way the money's coming in, I think you could possibly get it done the following year. No worse than 3 years, as long as the numbers hold up.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't,
And you feel like that would
Couldn't
be
be
the
that.
safer bet for our financial
well, I'm just saying,
situation?
we've got 2.2 sitting over there for these 4
We would
projects.
just have to go to the bank.
I'd rather do 4 and just be done with it, I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
but I don't have the money for that right now, so. I mean, if we did, like I said, one of the suggestions was go borrow the money and pay it back.
With the way it's coming in, you can pay it back in a year.
Yeah, but then somebody's gonna say you're spending $1 million on ball fields.
Well, that's what,
My road still hasn't
yeah,
been
but that's
paved.
different money there.
We are spending.
I say, I know, man.
Yeah, we
I
are
know
doing
that.
$1 million on roads.
You know,
I'm partial to the idea of paving all 4 as well. I'm wondering, and
We're gonna pay you.
We're gonna pay them?
You mean purpose?
hey, now that would last, that would last
Look,
long, that would last a while.
ain't no water gonna stay on that street wall.
You didn't pave my road, you paved the field.
I'm partial to turfing all 4 fields at once. Would it be that disappointing to people if we held off 1 year to see what our economic situation is in 1 year and then do all 4 then, as opposed to waiting 3 years possibly? Or is that something that y'all are amenable to? Because I know that this is a project that y'all have been working on for a while.
Timeline, when you put it out to bid, you're talking about 45 days.
What's the
If
difficulty?
you waited 2 weeks for us to have the same conversation, get some people to come in here and,
No, I'm saying a year.
of course, I'm
Like,
sure,
if we're
I'm sure they're gonna
make a
fill the
decision,
room
make
with
a
folks
decision.
that
He's saying just
say.
don't do anything this year.
No, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
we
no,
need to
no,
go ahead and
I'm
do, I think we need to go ahead and
I'm
start.
saying if
Okay.
you did,
Then if that's the case, then is there a difficulty in us asking for a bid for all four this
I
time?
can give you the numbers.
Well, we got the
Roughly
numbers.
$1 million
Yeah,
is estimated from the engineer.
We can't
Now,
change it
if
we
you
can't do it
wait
in
forward,
these
you're gonna have to scrap this because we haven't had boots on the ground on those other 2 fields.
I
So
see what
then
you're
we have
saying.
to come back and say the first meeting in May,
right.
then you're mid-June, late June.
Tony, is there a
giving
lot
out-
That makes
And-
sense, okay.
And putting off half of it for later, just as a maintenance standpoint or a learning
We're
curve?
talking about don't do anything right now?
No,
Just
just
do
doing the two.
Just doing two.
Is there a benefit to that as far as
It's just the money. really.
learning and
To
maintaining?
me, I'll tell you what I told PSA, hey, 2, it's the proverbial bird in hand. You got 2, that's 2 more than you got now.
Josh,
So
what's your
then you only gotta
recommendation?
fight for 2 more. I mean, what if, I think what they may hear is if we just waited on all 4, they may say, oh, Lord,
They won't
they're
ever get
busy
done.
doing something else.
Yeah.
And I know,
Josh, what-
I say paving as an example, but obviously, we've got, we got several department heads here, and they're gonna think, well, dang, they're spending money, and I understand it's different pots we're dealing with, so,
Please explain that, because
yeah.
you keep
If I
talking
spend,
about.
if I spend $500,000 on turf and 2 fields, I can't use that money for pay raises or trucks or cars or any of that stuff anyway, or I can
it's
use
gotta be
it for
spent
paving.
for something like
It's
sports.
gotta be used for rec, tour.
It's part of 3%.
That's right,
And
that's
so
Of
right.
course, Josh says, dang, that could be my pay raise.
Josh, what you think? I would personally like all 4 done at one time, come in, get it done with, because we'll have to maneuver all the age groups of who's playing where. And more often during the week, because we'll have to move them versus having done 2 fields. But financial wise, I do not want to have to just go borrow money from the bank that we're gonna have to pay interest on if we already had it in, if that makes sense. You know,
Tell them it's there.
but that's the other thing, but that's what I said, we can save a lot of interest if we pay it off. I mean, as long as we pay it off in a year, probably, with the 3% coming in.
Josh, do we know how to, let's say my kid spits some gum out and stomps it in that turf real nice and good with a little bit of extra stuff. Do we know how to fix that?
Aren't there notes or something that
Yeah,
says?
oh,
something
USM's got it, it
like
says
that?
no gum or.
There will be
sunflower
no guns,
seeds.
there will be nuts, and sunflower seeds.
It's
Now,
not
that's
as
even gonna be
bad.
hard for me.
But if it still gets there, I'm a teacher, it's gonna get there. Do we know how to fix it? Or is that something we need to learn how to do as it's happening?
I'm learning as we go, because I haven't had to do it, but there is chemicals out there you can spray, just say on gum, that creates not sticky. And-
Well, And the sunflower seeds is not as bad as the gum would be.
But the reason I bring that up is just kind of play devil's advocate for you, but that would provide our rec department time to learn how to maintain, come up with the proper policies. And those first 2 are gonna get tore up a little faster than the second 2, I would imagine, because we'll know how to handle those kind of situations a little bit better. What's allowed, what's not allowed, what kind of signs we need, when do we lock the doors, when do we open the doors, how do we fix it, what kind of equipment do we need to fix it? And that's something I'm concerned about. And then the other thing is all 4 would expire at the same time.
Yep.
Which, 10, 15 years down the line, someone's gonna be mad at us.
Well, if you do them within a year or 2 of each other, it's probably gonna be the same thing.
It's a good point.
I will say too, we've begun, just kind of since we're talking about that stuff out there. We have begun some of the work on the soccer fields. Josh has also gotten some quotes on what kind of lawnmower was that or something?
It is a high-speed rotary mower, which would be used for,
One of the things that Glenn suggested that we would need to get, and we wouldn't just use it on the soccer fields, I think that, it's a big number,
57,000.
for a
Oh,
That's
lawnmower.
more than car.
But at the same time, we've got
Yeah,
an investment out
You
there and
don't
stuff
just
too, so.
give us the money for that.
But you mowed the turf with it?
It would
Yeah, it's
only
like
be
a
used.
specialized-
It's like a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like a specialized, this is a rotary deal. You'd see it on a golf course, I guess.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's
It would
not-
only be used just on that grass, no
Yeah.
other else.
Yeah, what's, any other comments?
Well,
I think if we're looking at that, then I think we just need to table this other and get the,
Guys, I'm not for going to the bank and borrowing $500,000.
Are you in favor of what's on the agenda?
Of the two, yeah.
Mayor, do you, on the actual proposal has a mod for like $190,000. Can you explain what that is? 'Cause I had a hard time understanding what that.
That's do, that's one of the things in it, because initially they looked at it and we're going to move some drainage around. Pipes and things of that up under the field, and, this was basically gonna do the sidelines all the way out. So you wouldn't have to redo the lines or anything like that, so I had told Weston, let's do it two different ways. Because obviously if you did that, it'd be great, that's extra area, you don't gotta worry about the, you know, an area you can drain or not have to worry about the rain or anything. But then, as you see, it's an extra lip in there. Now, numbers come in better if you did two now, and you can do the sidelines on all of them. The next two, you might have to do them on all four of them, you know, on down the road, but, you know, it's not a perfect situation, but at the same time,
I don't think.
you know what, as Doug said a long time ago, you're gonna have a little more trouble living with money than you
Yeah,
do
that's right.
without
right.
money, and I think this is an instance, and obviously, since the people voted for that 3%, we've had a lot of conversation that give us heartburn in some cases that we would not have without that. So,
See,
It was
Greg,
very easy
Greg,
to say no.
yeah, we don't have, I mean, we're
Greg,
crazy.
Greg,
No way possible.
I would agree with you too if we didn't have the money coming in, but you know, we do have the money coming in, and like I said, it's one of the things you can pay off pretty quick.
My fear on that is we're already a little bit ahead of our.
Yeah, we are. You know, when
We
we
start
first did
talking
it,
about, I said 2.2, you might as well really say 2.7, 2.8. We're going to kind of make those numbers happen too in the big picture.
you know, when I first come in, we had borrowed $500,000 and we paid it off pretty quick when I first come in.
No, I think that's with us.
Yeah, I
We had to
think
do
what?
that, we had to do that for payroll.
Payroll, we did. We
Just
sure
make
did. We
sure.
paid it off quick.
The check was good.
If it were my preference, my two options would either be to figure out a way to do all four at one time, or wait a year, wait 2 years, whatever, whenever we can afford to do all four at one time. Invest some of that money into the drainage,
We
to
got
really try to tackle some of the, you know, not just rake the fields or something like that, but to significantly try to tackle the pines that accumulate down there. I just, you know, it's gonna be nice, it's gonna be a good PR move for us as a city and all that, but I just see there being, it's gonna kind of be one of those things, but, you know, I don't know. But those are kind of my two, if it were up to me, things, which it's not.
Well, I don't think I'm for,
Do I need to throw the, I don't get a vote card out
Yeah.
there? I just,
I don't think that I'm for putting it off. I think but I still think that we're,
But that won't cover this bid. I'm looking at the bid. It doesn't cover it that way. It covers it too.
yeah, for it.
he estimated 550.
We know what it's
And don't
gonna
get me wrong,
cost
this is,
before.
and I will say this, and to anybody that'll listen, all of these are contingent on, we can get some crazy numbers back, and then we've got
Then we'll have a problem.
then we got a whole nother,
Can we say Dawson cut off?
yeah. So some of those, yeah, some of these, you know, we can have some heartburn moments for sure. You know, estimated, they've been good, I mean, the engineers have been really good at hitting their numbers, and I think they try to shoot them a little high, but they've been hitting them dead on lately. They shoot them high and they still, you know, the numbers are just high out there right now.
Josh, if we do two now, is that gonna cause more problems for the folks at the sports?
We'll have to rearrange it, so the age group will have to move, so we'll have maybe girls playing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we might have the boys at the softball fields playing on, Mondays and Fridays. We can make it, rearrange that, so that way we just don't have kids not playing. Or we'll make it accommodated so we can have them playing somewhere.
Josh, is there any benefit to the city in general for doing two fields now?
Oh, yes.
You just have to fill this turf.
Like Wednesday, we had to get all the water off for opening day. We spent every bit of all day doing nothing but getting water off the ball fields. Versus if we didn't have to do that at all, they would have freed up every single one of our guys will be doing something else.
How do you get water off a ball?
Shot back.
Or push.
But Josh, isn't part of the problem is that the fields themselves right now, as is, are not
The drainage is terrible.
properly sloped and
That's been
dirt
tried
work.
all along.
Yep.
So, I mean, that is the issue.
Whether we
One
did,
is,
whether we did 2 fields or 4, that's gotta be fixed anyway.
yeah, and one is if we do that, we turf it, that digs down 18 inches and that fixes that. If we don't do that, then if we wait a year or two or whatever, they're still gonna have that unless we do some sort of dirt work to mitigate that.
That's
So one way or the other, the discussion I've had with some people, because like I said, these are great, these will be a premier facility for a recreational league, right? Now, I think the idea is like we want to be able to go after some of these, grow that into a higher.
Increase the revenue.
We want
Sure, an
to
opportunity for some,
encourage that
what
three
do you call it?
percent tax.
Tournaments like, are we gonna be able to host tournaments with only for travel, are we gonna be able to host tournaments with only 2 fields?
We will, but we won't get as much, if that makes sense. They would prefer all 4.
Well, it would probably get marketed as, we have a facility with 2 fields on it.
Yes.
That's what,
So the size of the
they're
tournament.
not gonna come with potential of, we're gonna have to play on the non-turf fields.
Nobody's gonna, if they see we just got 2 turf fields, nobody's gonna come down here just for 2 fields. It's in between 4 to 8 fields they wanna play on anyway. For the amount of teams they have.
And what's the dirt work we'd have to do to fix fields, to keep them dirt?
Like crush brick and all that stuff.
Yeah,
What
every
is
year,
that?
every year, if we wanna pay it all, if we don't pay them all at once, we don't find a creative family either.
Yeah.
Like I said, Mayor, I don't like to throw numbers around without actually having the data in front of me, so Mayor, that's like, I don't have a point of reference to.
Yeah, what's
we have
the crushed brick and all that you told me the other day?
to build them up properly, so we don't have a picture where, I got a picture like, you guys have to build a trench to drain.
It's 7,500 a load, and we'd have to put 1 on each field every year. That is just to get the safe coat back to where it should. Only reason I didn't do it this year was because,
We might be doing this.
yes, exactly.
That-
I don't
and
know,
that's just
$30,000.
But that's still not gonna help the drainage issue.
That's just
No.
dirt area, is it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, to drain, to prevent, where the infield pools. What would we have to do, I mean, like I said.
Tear it all up.
Because even if we only do 1 field or 2 fields, we still have a drainage issue on
Yep.
2 fields that if we don't fix for 2 years, we're gonna have to fix those fields either this year or at the same time. So, we got apples and oranges and bananas in this cart here.
When they built it on clay. It has nowhere to drain off it. So when the engineers told me that all that has to go, they're gonna have to bring in gravel, they're gonna have to bring in, dirt, they're gonna bring in topsoil, the actual stuff that actually needs.
So we'll still have 2 fields that flood terribly
Mhm.
until we do all 4 fields,
Yes, sir.
which basically means,
And by flooding, essentially what they do, when it
Pools.
massively rains, it just pools until it evaporates.
or they dig a trench out.
And it takes about a week
Or
really,
shot back.
unless y'all get out there with shot backs, it takes about a week on it.
That's correct, yes, sir.
So there's no, like I said, unless we spend the money to completely refit the field purely, kind of like Lynn was saying, purely as a grass field, which, I think the concept is to go long-term is for the turf, but, so that'd be a waste of money to spend $30,000 or whatever to fix the field for dirt, just to,
turf it next year.
yeah, just to dig it out 18 inches a year or 2 later.
Yes,
Doesn't
sir.
3% go to pay a loan that's used for recreation?
That's why I said, we got the money coming in to pay it.
And maybe you have better insight of where, our inbound, like I said, I don't have the visibility of our long-term finance
We
plan.
brought in 980 last year, I believe it was. We've had our first 2 months that were, like I said, now the Haskell's left. You'll probably watch it. Now that we've had our first 2 months that were 90, which was December and December and January, were our first 2 90s. One was 92, I think, and then one was 98. The monies and the regular sales tax numbers are good, but obviously y'all seen what I gave Melissa a crash course on the devaluing of the dollar earlier today. So we see what that,
If it stayed averaging, that's 1.1 million. If it stayed averaging, that's for 12 million.
we averaged, I think, 82,000 last year.
Yeah, I think a
And
big,
Josh's budget, I think we budgeted him around
And see,
780.
we only estimated when we carried this to the people, we were only estimating about 750 coming up.
well, I think there are 2 big problems there. Number one is exactly that, the devaluation of the dollar. Number two is, like, part of the reason that we're probably bringing in extra money is because inflation is going up. Therefore, people are spending more. And therefore, I don't think that that's sustainable, especially since we look,
I don't know,
and there's some
I'll
big
be ready
conversations
if we
going
get
on
in,
at the
that's what's
national
going
level
on.
that don't really
Yeah, I
look
don't know
good
that
for the
98 goes
economy.
to 60.
Yeah, that's what I'm
think
saying,
it's
I don't think 98
gonna
gonna
go
go
to
to 60.
Yeah, but
I mean,
it could go to 106, and just 106 might not mean that much.
I'm curious what
We'd be
the,
locked in with the loan.
what the, interest costs would be if we were to go borrow the other half, if needed. If we were able to pay that off in 1 year, what that interest cost would be? I mean, are we talking about $10,000?
I mean, when we got the vehicles, what did we get, four something on your police vehicles last year? So,
So if you borrow 500 grand, you're talking about 20 grand.
Yeah,
at least
25.
5%,
I mean,
yeah.
for,
Interest.
And there
it's
is,
not like we're out here spending $400,000 on interest.
there is a philosophy of thought that if the economy is about to crash, you might as well go ahead and spend some money now.
Borrow their money instead of
I
ours.
was about to say, if
Same
it's
thing
gonna
with
be
hydro
worthless,
all together.
if it's gonna be worthless, try and put
Good
it
luck.
down. We're gonna be in trouble one way or the other.
And borrowing before inflation is good. Borrowing after inflation, bad.
Alrighty,
It's gonna be-
what is the will of the board? I think we got a motion, got a second, do y'all?
What motion for what?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
We're-
we're-
I don't know
Motion
what
to
Accept it as
accept
it was
And advertise for bids, so you either need to vote to
for two of the
accept
fields.
it and advertise for the bids, or vote not to.
I make a motion to amend the bid request for 4 fields and send it back for.
Well, then you need to reject this, because he's
Just
gonna
vote
have to
this
go do
down
all
and
new
add.
plans
Yeah.
and specifications, because he's gotta get the other 2 fields done.
Okay, will
We
the
gotta
board,
get boots on the ground.
Go either way. That's,
Tom, I mean, you got, you know, even if you do the 2 fields, you still have to do a lot of work on the 2
Roll
fields
call.
to get them.
My warning would be this, and then we'll have this conversation again, I think, will be that we're roughly borrowed $2.2 million from ourselves and haven't really, we're waiting on the other $600,000 to come in. So we're already a little bit behind. Now we're fixing to be another 550 to 600 behind. So, and I think we can find the money. Melissa can find the money, Melissa.
That's what I'm saying, like, we've borrowed.
I'm just saying it's getting a little,
indeed,
I don't know if we're getting,
And that scares me.
so, yeah, whatever y'all want to do. I want to just look at the numbers and see. But if we do, I would almost assume we would table this with the idea that you may need to revive it.
Well,
What-
now
what-
they
what-
want to do
what if you
Basically,
plans
just
for
flip it, I mean, like I
4
said, we're just asking them
fields.
to do double. If you look at the fields, clearly it's it's what they call a mirror image. But there'd be some costs, engineering costs coming back to us, but I would imagine he could have it ready for the next meeting. So it's literally just mirror image of this, 2 more fields.
But still, I had to get boots on the ground over there.
So that's gonna cost itself.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's gonna cost them that
When I make
way.
the phone
They're
calls-
not doing it
when I
for
make
free.
the phone calls.
You're more loving, yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
No, we'll happily do it.
And
That's the thing, we have 3 options right now, and there is no right answer. We can push this off for a year, or we can do 2 fields, or we can do 4 fields. And none of them are the right answer.
It's not perfect.
I like grass.
and I was fine until I heard Josh talk about all the expenses on the other 2 fields.
I'll make a
Aren't you
motion.
supposed to
I-
be dirty and muddy when you play baseball?
they're gonna guesstimate it around 550 again. There's not gonna be this huge savings. I was talking to somebody that said,
Yeah.
they talked to a buddy and they found out that it was gonna be a huge savings because they were gonna get 4 instead of 2, and there's
No,
just
you ain't gonna save that
really
much
not gonna
money.
be a ton, so.
Yeah, that's not my fault.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Saving money, it's just.
But in order to get any league ball happening here, there's gonna be
Get it.
Get it ready.
minimum of
We're
4.
doing
Is that the?
Just get it
From a timeline standpoint, I think we've got some time. I tried to strategically put this to where we would get, in this instance, get the bids back in late May. So we could turf any accepted bid. If the numbers came back right, we could do it in August. When's the fall season start?
Around September.
Around September? So we can work around that. If we did the 4, now that's gonna probably put that timeline and put it probably in the winter time if we end up looking at all 4. And Melissa, I will ask you, if we reject this, we can still come back and accept it at another time if we
Yeah.
decided to go 2 instead of 4?
Cause we still gonna have it.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
just on
they
the shelf,
just redo
plan on the shelf.
it, yeah, they can
So that
But
this.
if we're gonna reject it, they may need to, reject this and then make a motion to authorize Shells to come up with plans
Well,
and
the other
specifications.
two.
Well, that's what I was gonna do if we do it. Let's just vote.
But what- And that may just require another
Understanding,
engineering
I'll just go ahead
agreement. I don't know.
and prep the board for this. The thought that needs to run through our minds is going to be, do we go to the bank or not? That's
Yeah,
gonna be the choice once we do 4 fields instead of 2.
That's right.
So, go ahead, Steve.
We got a motion.
Wait, I guess we got a motion in a second,
On-
so we wanna reject this.
Well, the motion is to accept it, so is
Motion
everybody,
second is, okay,
how's everybody voting?
is
Yea
there
or nay?
a motion, all in favor?
Once you say all in favor to do 2 fields.
All in favor to do 2 fields? All, opposed to doing 2 fields?
Nay.
Alright.
Hey, and then the
The
amount of
correct word.
All
So
seven?
Yeah.
we're rejecting this one?
Everybody, right?
and then my motion would get South here and Waits to, come back and, do the specs for 4 fields.
You get all that, Melissa? Got a second on that?
Second.
Economy effort.
All in favor? Okay. I will tell, because obviously we know employees watch this, and we've got employees
You
here.
second, Drew? Who
Yeah.
seconded, Drew?
Craig or Drew, somebody.
Any of the things that we've discussed and the things that we want to strategically do with our other departments, this would have no bearing on that.
Yep.
So don't think, because we're kind of getting, it's kind of funny, we're getting to a stage where we have some resources. And some people get into the situation where you think if we're doing one thing, we're not doing the other. But my commitment is still as the things that we've talked about, we'll still be good with some of that. And we've got a Melissa and Doug conversation to have at some point over the next month or
And of
so.
course, the 3%, it has to be spent on something like this.
Yes. And one of the things I like about it, it isn't total, but it's not something that you have to live with beyond this. It's
Yeah,
big
it's not a
push.
continuous-
Yeah, we spend more money, but the big push, but I think from an asset allocation standpoint, now I got y'all working on other things that really frees up, it's putting our people in the right places. Now the Gandy has a chance to be cleaner. Some of the other fields can have some TLC and all that stuff. And I will say that Josh has done a good job on the Optimus fields. They did pass Melissa's inspection.
We're
Did
good.
she sit in the stands by chance, or did she bring her
I
own
actually
chair?
didn't see
Oh,
it.
she was on.
No, she was on the field with the ruler measuring the grass.
She
I was
was
on-
adamant we fixed the
Up here
bleachers,
some and over
and then
there
I
some.
think she brought her own chair, so I'm not even sure about
I was
that.
thinking about the people.
Lynn was there, she had her chair in the tent.
All righty, let's go. Number 7, request a hearing date of April 25th at 6 PM for the property located at 1130 South Main Street.
Motion, second.
And that's just because they're changing, is that just cleaning up the history of that? Because that's the same owner, asking to do the same mission. They're asking to do a muffler shop, and there's already a muffler shop.
I have
This-
no earthly idea.
There's someone else that's wanting to purchase.
Okay, so.
It's changing ownership.
Changing ownership, and with the new ownership, they have to have the new conditional
New
use.
conditional
Okay,
use.
that makes sense.
Okay, who was the motion? Did you get
Yes, Gerald
Uh,
and Steve.
motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 8, request to accept resignation of Phil Hamilton in the street department effective March 31st.
Motion.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Phil went and, Matt was able to steal him, and actually there was a personnel savings on our side. See, they were already saving money.
Yeah, good job, Matt.
Number 9, request to send one Glock 31, 357, to Southern Connection for a store credit of $250 towards a new weapon.
Motion. Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 10, request to adjust the services bill to the following due to leaks, and it is 1505 Carterville, with the numbers there, 203 West 7th Avenue, 1406 Carterville Road, 226 Star Lane Drive, 101 Chapel Hill, and then the addition of 607 South George. Is there a motion?
Motion with
Yes.
the,
Yes.
did they, sign the paper?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good job, Steve. Number 11, request to renew ad in the Pedal Life magazine at a cost of $550.
Motion, is that what it normally costs?
I don't know, I think it went up, but
Okay. Motion.
Got a motion, got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Seminars and travel, request for Joe Harrison to attend online MSFA Hazmat May 1st, total cost $160.
Motion. Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 13, request for Chance Gardner and Zachary Cook to attend basic SWAT course in Columbia, Mississippi, May 1st through the 5th, total cost $700. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 14, request for Cody Crawford and Ethan Wimberly to attend North American Sniper Conference in Morton, Mississippi, April 2nd through the 5th. Cost $1,017.31. Got a motion, got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Orders and ordinances, number 15, request to amend the ordinance 2022-145.
What is that, Amy?
That is our dig and
Second, got a
bore
second. Oh, he's a
ordinance.
motion, you're a second. Okay, go ahead, Amy.
That's our dig and bore ordinance for these companies that come and dig up our roads and right of ways to put in fiber optics.
Yeah.
If they,
And gas
well, we
lines.
require them to submit a new fee if they, like, let's say DFAS Link, because they've had a long run. They're gonna go over 60 days. In this case, they'd have to come back and re-certify, or would they have to pay again?
No, it's in there too.
It
They
doesn't
can
say.
reapply at no charge.
Okay, no,
It's in the ordinance.
Yeah.
And just to kind of, a little background, I've had my front yard dug up completely 5 times in this year.
Good drainage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was 5 separate times that I finally got that grass growing back, and here they come again. And, you know, our city officials don't even know until you call and tell them, which I'm good at. But this way, the people who need to know will know.
Okay.
Amy, let me grab you after the meeting too. I just thought of something else about pertaining to some of this kind of stuff. Another example, we were doing McKinnis and we've only done a portion of McKinnis. And,
Yeah, that was the
they were
first
fixing
phone call I
gas
got
leaks.
was.
And then that's kind of when we saw.
We already had to
So
cut
we're
that one.
not trying to be under, it's
We already had
our
to cut that road.
infrastructure that they're digging up, so
McKinnis.
we have a right to protect the.
And Matt had to come out and check something and make sure they fixed it right.
Yeah.
You know, and
Oh, wow.
And this is the enforcement of the cammering as well.
Yes, that's already in the ordinance.
Yeah,
But
there, we had a section,
we
and I don't
discussed
believe
it.
it was long ago, as they said, but there was a particular line that had went through a sewer. And they were having a problem on Carterville Road.
Yep.
And we
Well-
finally found out that it was a fiber optic that had went through. They said it's 15 years ago, but there ain't no way.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
But anyway, that's good, that's the company I need to talk to you about, by the way.
And you said, it made one, when it says no activity on Fridays, we also threw in Saturday and Sunday, right?
Yes, but,
The original,
but.
I didn't see that original one, because it
Yeah.
says Saturday and Sunday on the original one.
I can include that.
It needs, because I think it depends, we don't want them born Friday, and then it hits them at Friday at 4 o'clock, and I have to call
Right.
Matt and Steve in, like, because they just like, oh, hit something, we're out of here, we'll see you, fix it.
Yeah, we love coming out on Friday night. We really do. And the thing about it is, you know, if you get a boring crew in here and they hit something at 4 o'clock in the afternoon,
that's the weekend.
guess what's fixing to happen? People are fixing to get off work, and people are out of water. You know, I don't wanna be without water on Friday.
That's why I
Saturday,
assumed Friday, I didn't-
that's
when I looked at the original, I didn't see a Saturday, Sunday, but I might have missed that, but we definitely want to make sure they're not, like I said, it's an inconvenience to our team and our public.
Yeah,
Do we want to make that with the addition?
yes, with that amendment.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I wanna make
Friday,
sure that-
Saturday or
yeah.
Sunday.
If it's not there, we'll add it.
Well, that's right. Let's just, it's not there. I'm looking at it. We're looking at the subparagraph 6 that you've added, and let's just say that if the motion would be, Drew, to approve it with the addition and the amendment to add Saturdays and Sundays to the word Fridays at the end of paragraph 6.
Sounds good.
Or holidays, or stated holidays that we have.
And teacher spring break.
Well, yeah, and stated holidays. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Then,
Saturday, Sunday, and state holidays.
Yeah, approved city holidays, we have, remember, we can choose.
City.
Approved city holidays.
Approved city holidays.
sounds good.
You're welcome.
Paragraph 6, is that what you said, Rocky?
Yes. And you'll get that to us?
I got it.
Yeah.
I love calling
she'll
back
fix it.
Friday.
Okay, I've got a motion, got a second, all in favor? 15, request to adopt an order hiring Lakin Davison as third-class dispatcher in the police department at a rate of $14.79 per hour. effective April 5th, which I believe is
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Motion.
Is there a second?
So we're ready to wrap.
Got a motion, got a
Wait a
second.
minute, don't you have to do a speech?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we usually require a speech. Chief, you got somebody with you?
I do have somebody, but this is I'm gonna try to pronounce, I know you didn't try.
I don't wanna have it on YouTube and be mispronouncing it.
Shalane.
Oh, I could have done that.
Sorry for us, I said, I can't get the name right, I'll just hire you anyway. Just to fill one void that we have, so we're down to 2, she'll fill that one, get started on, so excited to have her.
Great.
Congratulations, Vice Chair.
I'm not David's son.
Yeah, I'm not related to Harvey.
Awesome. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you.
Absolutely.
All righty. Number 17, request to adopt an ordinance amending the designated area of the CBD per Alderman Nobles. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a motion second? Blake?
So this kind of started because we had a business that was interested in applying for the CBD. But he had 2 parcels of land, and in combining those 2 parcels of land, he was actually going to get pulled out of the CBD just because of how the ordinance works. And so since we were doing that, we're going to go ahead and target a lot of our businesses that had kind of been wanting in. A couple of us have gotten in touch with City Hall. A couple had talked to me, and then we also saw another opportunity. And so we added these 4 pieces of property to the ordinance. Our goal was always to kind of expand it as it needed it. And so hopefully we'll slowly be able to help out more and more of downtown and improve our current situation. So
Are there any properties removed from this?
there's not, sorry.
That was a missed opportunity, so.
Got a motion, got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any additions or deletions from the audience? Ms. Ada?
I'm good. Y'all sit up there talking about them soccer fields over there trying to stop the water.
Baseball.
Can't stop the
Baseball,
water.
Ada, that's baseball.
Baseball field.
But, well, you can't stop water. But when it starts raining, ain't no way you can stop it. You can't stop it.
No, I don't flood no more. We fixed
No,
it.
but
Yeah.
you right now. You let it rain like it's supposed to.
We've had
ain't no way you
record
can stop
dry.
water.
All fixed.
I know once we get these in though, it'll turn dry for the next year or 2, so.
Mayor, did you have, there's just, remember Ryan Tate, we won.
Oh, yeah, Ryan, Tate, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Just remember South Miss Hot Dogs and Ham Pies, they won the 104th
And
first
if you need
annual.
a hot
Did they
dog,
win it?
they're fantastic.
And I think they had more people vote than we had voted in our election, so.
Yeah.
I saw that number, like, well, that's, I know where Pedal votes for.
I would make the joke, it's kind of a national joke, I would make the joke that we can make a meme of that nature, but I think somebody just got put in prison nationally for making a meme from the 2016 election, but anyway, I digress.
Y'all doing a good job up there.
Thank you,
Yeah, we
Miss
do
Ada.
have, someone turning, and you sent us the email on that, we have someone turning 102 tomorrow.
1:30, I think.
Yeah,
No, not 130, they don't turn in 102.
yeah, the person turning 102, who is it?
Oh, she's 102, yeah.
Yeah.
What was it?
I got it right here. I got it.
Hold on, wait.
Let me get it right back.
Yeah.
Effie McCoy, Effie McCoy.
Yeah, that's right, Effie McCoy.
That is awesome.
And we've already, she wants us, I'm gonna be there. I don't know if everybody else is going.
Cool, awesome. Good deal, appreciate it, buddy. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
What do you got?